Hey Internet, what's going on? It's Doclariv here with Internet Kids Gaming. I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the new Mists of Pandaria NDA agreement. It dropped off the other day, and I kind of just wanted to give my thoughts on a few of the things. And I could sit here all day and talk about this. I mean, there's so many changes, but I'll keep it short and sweet for the most part, and give you what I think are some of the more important points. Some of the big things that I think are coming are actually what other people might consider minor things, but they're little things that make changes in big ways. The first and foremost of those is AoE looting. I don't know how many of you took a break to play Rift. I know I did. And that was a great feature. AoE looting saves a ton of time when you're out farming. And it's something that I had been thinking about and asking for on the forums for years. And it's just great to see that they implemented it. I'm sure they implemented it as a response to Rift to make that less appealing. Why go to Rift and get your AoE looting on when you can just do it in good old friendly WoW, which we all know you were playing first. So as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty fucking awesome. AoE looting, that's where it's at. A few other things are the challenge mode dungeons. We've got a little bit more specifics on those, and as far as the difficulty of those, and it looks like there's going to be an easy mode, a regular mode, and a hard mode. Not in that specific structure, but there's bronze medals, silver medals, and gold medals. And it's that that's going to really make it easy, medium, and hard. And you get a title, for getting a bronze medal. So something for everybody, even for the casual players. Some of the other things that I think are really going to be big game changers are the ability to add your own farm. And they've already said that this farm will allow you to grow things like herbalism nodes and things of that nature. Which to me means it's going to drop the bottom out of the herbalism market. If you can grow any herb, and there's one that's, the Twilight Blossom of Mists of Pandaria, it's hard to find. It's only in one zone. You can just grow that herb and go farm the herbs that are easy to farm, and use the herb that's hard to grow or hard to get for your own purposes, or sell it. So that could be a positive or negative thing. It's hard to say. Warlock classes, okay, you get the most changes, but I'm pretty positive everybody's going to get changes. Alright. Some of the other things that I think are cool are the Cloud Serpents as the new mounts. It'll be good to see some change in the mount structure. They've been doing dragons and drakes for flying mounts, since Wrath of the Lich King. And even back since BC with the Nether Drakes. So yeah, that'd be cool to see. A couple other things I think are important. Let's see. More mounts, less color swaps. So basically, they're not going to be like the red Cloud Serpent and the blue Cloud Serpent and the pink. It'll be more individualized mounts, which is awesome. A few other things I think are really cool, which a lot of people have been talking shit about on the forums, is the pet battle system. I mean, a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's going to be Pokemon, fucking Pokemon and WoW. Yeah, well, you know what? Shut the fuck up, because it might be Pokemon and WoW, but it's also going to be very fun, and they've discussed that you can communicate with the player you're battling, so if you can battle across factions, that might actually be the first time you could communicate with a Horde or Alliance member, vice versa. And that brings me to my next point, which is that they have said the endgame raid for Mists of Pandaria is going to be Garrosh. Taking out Garrosh, which is awesome. They say both Horde and Alliance are going to be taking them out, which means that there might be some first time ever in-game communication between those two factions, which as a player of both factions I find interesting. And I also find it awesome that Garrosh is getting the boot, because I personally didn't like the fact that he was in there in the first place. I really like Thrall, and I hope that if Thrall doesn't get back into position, somebody like him does. Because I friggin' hate Garrosh. He's like the Muammar Gaddafi of WoW, you know, or the Saddam Hussein of WoW. He's just totally batshit crazy. He's fucking everything up, and it pisses me off. You know, I actually would go so far as to say that this, from what I've seen from the Mists of Pandaria, you know, disclosure agreement dropping and the new information they've put out, some of the new artwork, some of the new zone models, and some of the new options, just the simple things they added in to make the game a little bit more fun, that this patch, or I'm sorry, this expansion, you know, is going to be heads and tails above Cataclysm. And I want to make it very clear, I've been playing personally since Vanilla. I played and did some raiding in Vanilla. I did some raiding in BC, did a lot of raiding in Wrath of the Lich King because it was so accessible. And as much as everybody hates Wrath of the Lich King, I actually enjoyed a few parts of that. I enjoyed the accessibility of normal mode raids. And the one thing I really liked in Cataclysm was the LFR system. You know, it allowed you to, you know, to get some accessibility to content if you weren't in an endgame raiding guild, which I was in Wrath, I was in BC, I was in Vanilla, but in Cataclysm a lot of my friends quit, so I wasn't in an endgame raiding guild. And on my server, which is Medium Pop, which I don't ever know why I transferred to it, thanks Mathis, which was Medium Pop, you know, it's hard to get a pug raid together and get some really good stuff accomplished, unlike Sargeras, which, you know, you could just pug any raid and it would probably get, you know, you could get 8 out of 12 content done for the week in a pug. But anyways, I'm sorry, 8 out of 12, 6 out of 8. Anyways, so those are my main thoughts. Just to follow up with a few other things, you know, the monk class I'm looking forward to, and one more thing that I'm really looking forward to that I didn't really touch on is the new talent system. And they've kind of gone into a little bit more detail with that. And, you know, I know like me and my buddies are all looking forward to that. Is, you know, they're taking a lot of the power out of talents and they're making it more interesting so you can actually pick what you want and not have to necessarily go to an Elitist Jerks or to a Noxic and match your gear up and everything, you know, and try to figure out what the best, you know, what the best rotation spec and talent tree is. You know, you can customize it more, which, if it works, is going to be really nice. But the key word there is if it works. It's going to be hard to see if it does work or not, because you know there's going to be people parsing data. You know Elitist Jerks is still going to post the quote-unquote best spec for your class. You know, they're going to spend hours and hours and hours and weeks and weeks and weeks just poring over numbers and seeing what gear combinations with what spec combination gives you that extra, you know, 0.1 DPS. And they're going to post it, and there's a strong possibility that people are still just going to go get the cookie cutter thing like they do now, even though a lot of the people who do that don't realize that that stuff's all geared towards people wearing best in slot gear. You know, it's just to get on off a quick side note, it reminds me of my friend who's a Frost DK. You know, he does Frost DK, Unholy Presence, and he uses a two-hander from the Looking for Raid system, and he tops the charts in every raid system because of the way his gear is itemized. He's not in best in slot gear. So a lot of people that are Frost DKs go in with the two one-handers and do the same thing, and they don't do half the DPS he does because they don't understand how gear itemization works. But that's a whole side note. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the NDA agreement. I just wanted to remind everybody to subscribe to the channel and to like our page on Facebook, which is going to be in the comment box. You can also find it on our channel. And the reason for that isn't because we're awesome, which we are, obviously, but because you can get free stuff. We're actually going to be starting to give away free copies of video games here pretty soon. free in-game items and across the spectrum of different video games. And whenever a new game's released and it's something that we play, you know, we're probably going to be giving away free games here. So make sure you subscribe for that, and that's coming soon. Pay attention to the channel. Pay attention to what Mathis819 says. He's handling that for the time being. And yeah, that's about it. Good talking to you out there, and I'll see you next week for my next log. And yeah, talk to you later.